Was popping, was popping. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of Life According to Rick. I hope that everybody's had an amazing week. Now, how did y'all deal with this snowstorm? To those of you that it applies to, obviously, because, a lot of y'all don't live out here in the Northeast. So we just straight up dealing with this mierda blanca nonsense and Jack Frost and Wendy Williams out here being hella disrespectful. But we got 10.5 inches, and there was certain parts that got like over 2 feet of snow, which is like ridiculous. Like, how do you deal with 2 feet of snow? That's almost like a whole toddler or a little, you know what I'm saying? Like a little baby. Like, listen, just the thought of it gives me a headache. But your boy had to go out there and shovel. Let me tell you, that was quite a workout. But I felt good doing it. I was like, yeah, I still got it. The whole time I was feeling like athletic, responsible, man of the house vibes. But the next morning it was like, nah. My shoulder said absolutely not. I woke up with this deep muscular pain that's driving me nuts. And it's the kind that you can't lift your arm regular and it really humbles you immediately. Like, nah, you not 19 no more. So now I'm in the crib looking hella crazy. I got this heated deep tissue massager that my wife got me. And I'm rubbing icy hot on my shoulder like an old head, smelling like menthol and responsibility. And it hit me. This is adulthood. Because when we was kids, snow meant no school. We was outside playing snowball fights, just living life. Now snow means shoveling, stretching, recovery time. And then that got me thinking about seasons, not just winter, life seasons, the ones we rush through. But before we get into it, how was everybody's week? For real though. Was it heavy? Was it light? Did it test you? Did it teach you? Now let's think about that for a second because life moves very fast. And if we don't pause to reflect, we miss the lesson. Life has seasons that we all go through. Some are joyful, some are reckless, some build you, some break you, some teach you, and some test you. But there's one season I think a lot of us rush through: childhood. Back in the late 1900s, how these little YNs be calling it, life was simple: homework, sleepovers, playing your favorite sport with your friends. You be outside playing tag or hide and seek. You know, we would have to rush home to the crib before the lights came on. Otherwise, you would catch a whooping for being out late. But that's what these little YNs be lacking. Everything now is a smartphone and iPads, screen raising kids. We used to knock on the door like, yo, can you come outside? Now it's FaceTime and party chats. But nah, for real though, we ain't have no bills, no real stress, no shoulder massages. We didn't appreciate that season though. We wanted to be grown. And we used to watch our parents stay up late and be like, why I gotta go to bed? Whole time they probably sitting at the table decompressing, talking about work or bills and just life in general. We thought that they was up having fun. We didn't realize they were carrying weight. Stress we couldn't even spell yet. And that's the crazy part about being a kid. You want access to adulthood without understanding the cost of it. If you grew up in a Dominican household, weekends were different. Grown folks had their get togethers, music blasting, food everywhere, everybody's loud, laughing. It was probably unwinding from a stressful week, but we ain't know that. All we knew was that everybody was showing up and it was lit. All of the cousins would get together, run around, up late as hell because grown folks was doing grown folks things, unpacking their week. And we all had that one cousin that would tap out early, knocked out, and would end up in the room with all the jackets on the bed. If you know, you know. We were in the middle of grown folks' world, watching it, absorbing it, wanting it. And now, we the adults have to get together. We the ones decompressing. We the ones with the stressful week. We the ones with the kids that are watching. That's full circle. That's seasons. For me, wanting to be grown turned into rebellion. I came to live with my mom when I was like around 17, and not growing up with her, living with my grandma, it kind of like the vibe was different, you know what I mean? And granted, you know, my mom wouldn't let me go out. She wouldn't let me date. And, instead of me seeing it as protection, I saw it more as like restriction. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? When we at that age, we're like, nah, I could do whatever I want. We think we know it all. And so, to spite her, I ran off with my kid's mother, to kind of prove a point. And we all know how that went. But that's what happens when you rush a season. You make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. If I'm being honest, a lot of us that grew up fast ended up having kids young. So now you're trying to figure out life while also raising life. You're learning adulthood the hard way, in real time. Back then, we thought grown meant freedom. Now we know it also comes with bills, responsibility, and apparently shoulder pain. We felt grown, we felt ready. But feeling grown and being prepared, two different things. Rushing that season teaches you lessons the hard way: mistakes, regrets, growth. And the crazy part, you see it in your kids. You don't want them to rush it, you want them to savor their seasons. But sometimes you realize they're learning the same lessons you had to learn too, just on their own timeline. That's the cycle of life. That's what happens when you rush a season. When my kids were young, I made sure they was fly all the time. Jordans, fresh wardrobe, everything. And even though I was a single parent, I couldn't always get them the fresh pair of J's when they dropped, but every now and then I would try to get them for them, you know what I mean? But that's because I didn't have that growing up. And not to say that I was dressed like a scrub, you know what I mean? I had decent clothes and I would occasionally have some nice sneakers, but it wasn't the sneakers that I wanted. You know what I mean? Like when the Jordans would drop, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't get them because at that time they was expensive. And let's not even talk about now because a pair of J's retail go for over 200. Super nuts, but we dropped the bag just to get them sneakers, you know what I mean? But it wasn't about being materialistic. It was about healing something. And if I'm being honest, I might have done more damage than good because now little Ricky has a sneaker addiction and it's out of control. I try to tell him sometimes, like, yo, bro, you need to ease up. Learn to, save your coins for a rainy day. Don't be dropping the bag on every pair of Jordans that drop because, you know, I'm pretty sure y'all given that pep talk before. But then again, I can't even be mad at him because I got a sneaker addiction too, but mine feels different. My collection, those are the sneakers that I couldn't get as a kid. And that's like me telling my younger self, yo, I got these for us. It's funny because Kiana's not a sneakerhead like that. Like, she likes to wear, occasionally Jordans. I bought her a few pair of J's as she's gotten older, but she's more the girly type. She's like into doing her makeup. She be wanna be looking cute. You know what I'm saying? When she be going out, she be like, she be getting like all dolled up, right? So I kind of lucked out with her, and not having to drop a bag on Jordans for her. And you know what I mean? That she's more the smart one when it comes to her finances. Um, Even though like she be kind of going out a lot, and I'd be like, "Yo, Keeks, you need to ease up on the going out because that requires you to spend money." You know what I mean? And I'm not saying for you not to go out and enjoy life because she's more like the free spirited one. She reminds me like of me. She's like a female version of me if we getting down to the nitty gritty. So she's more like a dad, and she likes to be outside and have a good time and being with her friends, and so she's like the more smart one when it comes to her finances. But you know, um, kids gonna be kids, man. They you know they're gonna do whatever they want. But all I could do is give them advice, and I told them like, yo, el que coge consejo llega viejo. That is a Dominican saying that we say, you take advice, you learn from it, and you get to an old age, you know what I'm saying, from absorbing that wisdom and knowledge. But now I'm in a different season. More awareness, more reflection, more accountability. And man, I can see clearly now. We rush being grown, not knowing adulthood comes with weight, responsibility, pressure, physical pain, apparently, and emotional scars we didn't even realize we were collecting. I think about all the times I try to do all at once, rushing parenthood, rushing freedom, rushing life. And yeah, I grew, but I also skipped lessons that could have saved me some headaches and some regrets. Sometimes I look at my kids and I see myself in fast forward. And I realize I can't control their seasons, I can only guide them and hope I teach them that it's okay to slow down. But here's the thing, slowing down doesn't mean giving up. Slowing down means understanding, learning the lessons, appreciating the growth. Because rushing a season may get you to the finish line faster, but it doesn't always prepare you for what's coming next. And that's the beauty of awareness. Knowing that even the mistakes, the pain, the chaos, all of it was shaping you, teaching you, and preparing you for the next season. So here's the real question. What season are you rushing right now? Are you rushing success, parenthood, growth, peace? Because I promise you, there's a future version of you wishing you slow down. Take a moment, reflect, and ask yourself, am I learning the lesson or just trying to skip ahead? Every season has a purpose. The joyful ones, the ones that make you laugh so hard your stomach hurts, that leave you grinning for days. The reckless ones, the ones that scare you, test you, push you, and sometimes leave you questioning yourself. The painful ones, the ones that break you down, leave you raw, leave scars you didn't know you'd carry. Healing ones, the ones that teach you, that help you grow, that slowly put you back together stronger than before. You can't skip them. You can't fast forward them. You can't just wish life was easier or faster because the growth, the lessons, the wisdom comes from experiencing all of it. And one day, and I mean one day, when you look back, the season you couldn't wait to leave, the one that had you frustrated, scared, tired, or confused, was shaping you the whole time, was preparing you for the next chapter, was giving you the tools you didn't even realize you needed. So don't rush it. Don't fight it. Don't try to skip ahead. Appreciate it. Learn from it. Grow through it. And when you do, you'll see that every single season, no matter how messy, heavy, or confusing, was exactly what you needed to become who you meant to be. So that's going to wrap things up for this week's episode of Life According to Rick. I definitely appreciate y'all for riding with me through the laughs, the chaos, and the lessons. Next week, I'm going to be heading out to Miami for a little trip. So who knows what stories, thoughts, or wild vibes might come out of that. But one thing's for sure, whatever it is, we'll unpack it together. I hope that everybody stays safe, take a moment to breathe, and remember, every season has a reason. So y'all know the vibes. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a great and amazing week and weekend. And I'll catch you guys next time.